Welcome to NeedlessSpace, the channel with fast, efficient guides to get straight to the point. In this video, I'm going to be going over all 4 main characters in Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance, and going into detail the pros and cons of each one so you can find out which one is the best for your playstyle. Each of the 4 main characters plays entirely different from each other, and they can each support the party in different ways, but Dungeons & Dragons is a game you can put hundreds of hours into, building and leveling your character and acquiring new gear, so you don't want to jump into a game like this on the wrong foot. So starting with Dris. Dris is the rogue assassin-like character of the bunch, using swift attacks with big damaging combos, along with utility spells and tricks. So Dris can do quite a few interesting things, like turn invisible and use negative status effects on your enemies, but he is also very squishy, and can even be one-shotted from regular mobs later on in the game. So it's best to use him in a party where he isn't going to be targeted most often. So the pros for using Dris is he has a high damage output, he's quite fun to use, he has both close and mid-range potential, he can inflict quite a bit of debuffs, and to be honest, he actually has a really cool ultimate ability. But the cons for Dris is he is actually quite hard to use efficiently, so he's not recommended for beginners. As I mentioned before, he is also very squishy, so he can die quite easily. He is also very combo heavy in order to use him for his max potential, and you need to have good reflexes and knowledge of the party in order to let him shine. So in my opinion, Dris is not recommended for either a solo dedicated player or someone who is just trying to learn the ropes of the game. Next we have Brunor. Brunor is a fighter class character, but he is definitely considered the tank of the bunch. Not only does he have the highest health pool, so he can take quite a bit of damage, but he has a few tricks up his sleeve to keep the party alive as well. He can dish out quite a bit of damage, especially to large groups of smaller mobs. He can also buff the party and has some minor healing techniques in his tool belt as well. The pros to using Brunor is that it's very hard to die with him. He can buff the entire party. He has quite a bit of crowd control moves when there's huge swarms of mobs, and he is very easy to use for beginners. The cons is his gameplay may end up getting a little boring towards the end. He does not have as high a damage potential as the rest of the characters, and his attacks are very slow besides special abilities and techniques. Overall, Brunor is definitely not the flashiest character, but in my opinion, still a top tier choice and is definitely beneficial to have in a party. Next we have Wolfgard the Barbarian. So Wolfgard's probably the easiest character to play as in the game, and he is considered the frontline brawler of the group with two-handed heavy hits. He does have some combos you can utilize, but he's not as combo heavy as Dris. He can, however, pull off some big numbers when it comes to damage, and if used properly can start and end fights in an instant. The pros to using Wolfgard is he is an extremely balanced fighter, he has high damage output, he is definitely easy to use, he has lots of crowd control moves for groups of enemies, and he is a lot less combo heavy to inflict big damage than some of the other characters. The cons is he doesn't really excel at anything specifically, he's just overall balanced, and he has slow attacks leaving him very vulnerable at certain times. But overall, I think Wolfgard is a very solid choice for a solo player that wants to have damage output, or someone that just wants to be in the front lines, always attacking the enemy. Next is Catty Bree the fighter. So Catty Bree is the bow user of the bunch, and at first glance she might seem like she's sort of lacking as she doesn't have the best damage output, and if you are playing solo, she will not perform very well. But where she shines is when she's put into a party, because she is technically the support of the group. She has a lot of spells that help the party, like waves of healing and different types of natural based skills to hinder enemies. Her core gameplay does rely on her bow, as she can unleash a barrage of arrows from afar as you would expect. Combining her whole moveset and rotation will let you dish out quite a bit of damage, but she does need that support in order to keep enemies off of her. The pros to using Catty Bree is that she is the only ranged character, so if you're into ranged gameplay, that's your route. She is a very safe character to use in parties. She has access to support spells like healing, buffs, and debuffs, and she definitely has some interesting combat mechanics compared to the other 3. The cons is that she is very squishy, she needs constant positioning in the field in order to survive, she has a lack of melee combat options, and she is not efficient in solo gameplay. So Catty Bree is definitely one you do not want to go in if you're going in solo for your first time. In fact, if you use her solo at all, I'd consider that a hard mode playthrough. However, if you do plan on playing with a party, she can be very useful for the entire group. So overall, all 4 characters can be very fun to play as, and none of them are really a bad choice. They all bring to the party different aspects, and they all just work better in certain situations. If this video helped you guys out, or if you just enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Let me know down below in the comments which character you decided to go with, and I will catch you guys in the next one, and as always, good luck and have fun.